And we're back with another week of podcasts for you. And this week, you know it's now, but how were we like in high school? That's what this topic is all about. Because let's be real, we were different people in high school than we are right now.
Most definitely.
Kevin, don't do that to yourself.
I'm just being honest, but
I didn't know if he was calling Jordan that or calling himself that. I was like, wow, that's bold.
Completely self-effacing.
I will say that I feel like my morals stuck. Like I basically like set the foundation of myself. I think in high school of like I basically was like I never really had like a clique group that I hung out with. I was the guy that like could kind of go to whichever table and was kind of accepted in every group, if that makes sense. That's the kind of guy I was.
Sure.
I was like
That's
kind of friends.
good.
Yeah, I was kind of friends with like everybody. So again,
the sportos, the dorks, the dweebs, the
I
nerds,
could kind of go to whichever table and they kind of accepted me at every single. I was kind of one of those people. So I didn't really choose a side. I was kind of like accepted by all, which was nice. And also kind of like had a different like point of view too. Cause like when, some of the people thought a certain way and that could be like, well, what about this? And then they're like, oh wait, yeah, So I don't know. I just tried to be really friendly with everybody. I tried not to have too many enemies in high school, just because again, I went to school anyway to like socialize. I didn't go for academic purposes at all.
Right.
So I just wanted to talk to everybody, and I did just that.
No, I mean in school I just wanted to play ball and get through my classes and chit chat with my friends. That was basically about it, and that's pretty much what I did. Played basketball until my senior year. Just by the time I hit senior year, everything hurt, and I couldn't foresee doing sports long term. I had awful ankles. I'd sprained my ankles, and just a lot of really gnarly sports injuries, torn quadricep muscle, and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, it just wasn't me anymore. But prior to that, I mean, I played volleyball up through my freshman year, was active in a photo club, spirit club, couple clubs.
Couples club?
A couple of clubs, I said. Yes, couples club,
What kind of
Kevin.
school did you go?
It's
Because
like couples
we all
counseling.
know that I was known for my dating. Hey, we're going to couples
club. Come on.
It's couples club for teenagers. We're couples counseling. We're going to couples
Parents
club.
are storming the office. What is this couples club my kid belongs to?
So anyway, I guess a lot of people didn't think I was going to amount to much, because one thing I've heard over probably the last 5 years is, so you're on the radio now, okay, and you volunteer your time here and do this and do that. Wouldn't have pictured you doing that. Wow, thanks. I mean, I don't know what I did to give off that impression.
I don't know that it's necessarily a slam. I think they probably
it must
just
be the delivery.
thought your personality didn't necessarily lead to doing this now. That's all.
Really, my outgoing personality didn't.
I'm not saying it
my
was a
chatty personality.
Listen, you could ask my parents what I was going to be when I grew up. This would have been one of the last things they would have told you, because I was like the kid that like would hide under mommy and daddy's legs when anyone would come in or anything like that. So I'm still rather like I still keep to myself. Like funny enough too, weirdly enough, it's like even with this kind of job, I don't know if I would necessarily consider myself like a loner per se, but I kind of am, and that like I hang out with who I hang out with, and when I'm not, I just kind of want to be left alone, if that makes any kind of sense.
No, it makes complete
which
sense.
is kind of strange, but like, so in that aspect, I kind of haven't changed too much, but like, yeah, they definitely did not see me doing something like that. They're like, no, but then, they got to thinking about it, and they go, well, you did go to school, and you talked a lot, and you were kind of one of the first ones to like always want to do like presentations. Everyone always dreaded them, including me. Like, it's not like I was like, oh yeah, a class presentation, let's do this. But I wanted to be the first to do it, so I just could get rid of that anxiety.
Right.
I was just like, who wants to volunteer and do it first? It's like, well, at least I can set the example, right? I could be like,
yeah, well, hey.
because what if it's good and everyone else is terrible, and then you're like, woo, I did good,
you
know?
You are the man at that point. I mean, I've mentioned it before. I was quite, I guess you can call it introverted in school. I was quite intimidated by girls. I didn't date until I got to college. It didn't mean I didn't like them. I mean, they were so nice and they smelled so good and all. But no. But girls were like, as the song says, girls were a mystery. We didn't have any clues. That was me. I really did. But I had my small group of buddies that I hung around with. And again, I was not a social butterfly. I had 3 or 4 really close friends, and that was about it. We hung around. We walked to school. Eventually, one of them got a car. We drove to school together. And this is my one, I've said this before, this is my one regret from school is that I did not immerse myself in the culture of school. I didn't get involved in clubs and sports. And I mean, not that I was much of an athlete, but, even just being at games, anything. I didn't do any of that. And because of that, I think I missed a lot of the fun and like the stuff that makes school great. I didn't get to really take part in that. And I didn't come out of my shell, as I said, until college. And it's funny now, people years later would see me and go, like, what do you do? Oh, I do a morning radio. You're in radio? Go figure. I go, I know, go figure, right? It's like one of the most outgoing things you can do. But that was me. I was a terrible student. Let me put it down. I was a below average student. Okay. Way below average student. It's amazing that I got accepted into college. I didn't graduate, but I made it into college. And, again, I kind of drifted through high school. I really did.
I did too. To the point where my parents were even concerned. I told them I was going to college.
Terrible study skills. Everything.
I told my parents I was going to college, and of course they're supportive and everything. But my dad later on, straight up, was like, I was concerned. He was like, I knew. He's like, you didn't do great in high school. Again, I didn't apply myself. I'm straight out. I did homework that was supposed to be due in the previous class. So I would be like, oh, I have math next hour, and I'd be doing math and English to get it done because I didn't finish my homework the night before. That's the kind of student I was, right? So my dad was like, oh my gosh, there's no way. But then, I got my stuff together in college. I'm like, well, now I'm paying for this. This is a higher education. I actually want to learn, and ended up coming on top and doing really, really well and proving them wrong. But I can't sit there and say that my parents weren't like, he's not going to do too well.
Well, and by far, I'm no means a doctor or anything, but I would say all 3 of us probably have a little bit of undiagnosed ADD because we all share an office. We're all very easily distracted.
I'm a bit OCD. I know that.
When things get down to the wire and things have to get done, we're your people. We can get it done. However, if we've got a little extra free time, we are the ones most easily distracted in the office. And I was the same way in high school. If you were talking, I was listening. I could read this later, or I can work on this homework later. I was 100% at school to socialize.
Yeah, that was me too.
I didn't know what I wanted to be.
Me either.
When I grew up, I had no clue, no direction. Originally, I was just gonna go to college to play basketball. That was gonna be it. And then once my injuries started mounting up, I thought, I don't want to wake up another 4 years and continue to do this.
Right.
And that's when I dropped out of ball my senior year. And then, my parents were just kind of like, well, what's the plan now? I don't know.
I'm open to suggestions.
Get a job. Get a job after high school. And that's what I did because honestly, college, don't get me wrong. There's times I'm like, I probably should have gone. But at that point in my life, I was like, what's the point of wasting my time and my parents' money?
Yeah.
Because at that point, quitting basketball, I'd lost any scholarship opportunities that I'd had. Wasn't the best student. I was average, but, I wasn't great by any means.
As I said, I was introverted. I was afraid of, I was self-conscious. If somebody, I didn't want to be like the kid that stuck out too much, but at the same time, I was kind of the funny kid. In class, I was always raising my hand, answer the question. Heck, maybe we could have somebody other than Kevin answer this question now, that sort of thing. But what was I going to say? Oh, one thing was that I was always thought of as like, oh, Kevin's a good kid. He's a nice guy. He's the one, you don't have to worry that he's gonna. I was just a nice guy, and unfortunately to girls, say, oh, you're such a nice guy. Oh, thanks. Nobody wants to date the nice guy.
Well, hey, nobody wants to date the nice girl. All through high school, all the guys would get close to me so they could date my friends. Is the way it went.
Interesting strategy.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Because I was the one. I never had homecoming dates or prom.
No, I
dates
never went to
or-
any of those.
I
Homecoming,
didn't.
any of those things.
I went to
Prom,
homecoming
nothing.
Yeah.
once with a group of my friends, and that was it. But
That's the worst feeling, by the way. Like when you have like a crush on somebody, like in school, and like all of a sudden, then they start showing you attention, and you're like, I think they might like me, and then they reveal to you they
Okay.
like your friend, and you're like,
friend.
oh, now I
hook
have
me
no
with your
chance, dude.
I
Like-
went through that in college. As I said, I started dating in college, and all of a sudden it was like one knock against my dignity after another.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I think she really like. Hey, Kevin, you're really a nice guy, but either A, I've got a boyfriend back home, or I think I really just want to keep it friends. I don't want to ruin our. No, the friend or
friend
the F
zone.
word,
The friend zone.
I was always the one. I was the one always getting hurt. I was never the one to dump somebody.
Right.
Yeah, and so to me, it's amazing I got married.
See, I
got
regret-
married at 30 years old, but I got married.
I regret not being in any like clubs, I think, in like high school and stuff like that. I did try like every single sport. So I literally did every single sport to find out like which one I liked.
The clubs are where a lot of the social stuff happens.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
100%. And so I remember I did like every single sport. I liked a lot of them, but I think the one I liked the most, not so much fun like watching it, but playing it, tennis. Super fun, by the way.
Yeah.
I loved it. Playing tennis, awesome. Watching tennis, not so much fun. But at least in my opinion. I was in band. That helped, I think, too, with me. So like instead of me being
What'd
in
you
a
play?
club, so I played trumpet for like 3 years, and then I switched to tuba. Which, if you know anything about,
He's told the story of carrying
Yeah.
the tuba
Yep.
around.
yeah. So if you know anything about music, that I basically had to like relearn like everything. I went from treble clef to bass clef, so basically I had to learn completely different notes and everything. So it's a whole different kind of actual ball game with that. But yeah, it was fun. Tuba, so much fun. Got to march around with that sucker on.
I've said that my one of my bucket list items is doing a stage thing or like a play. I am actually going to do that as of this podcast, November 1st and 2nd. I'm in a play.
That's cool.
At the Camden County Museum in Lynn Creek. And this is the first any kind of stage I've ever done, like with a scripted sort of thing. So, but that is something that I wish I had done in school, in high school. You know what I mean? Where you can really make your mistakes and have somebody guide you along the way. So this one I'm kind of doing on my own. So fingers crossed.
I'll never forget, by the way, in band. It just reminds me of this because it was like, so it was a concert band at the time. So instead of having the big giant like sousaphone tuba that wraps around you, it was like the giant like brass one that you kind of just set in your lap, right?
I'm picturing you in drumline.
Yeah, kind of, right? One of my buddies, Kyle, he was a crazy drummer. But anyway, so me and my buddy, we're sitting there and we're in a concert. Like this is for a competition, right? So we're like in front of judges, in front of a whole audience in this giant auditorium. and we're supposed to keep track of where we are. We're in the middle of our break. So we got to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4 until we get to like count 16.
Right.
And anyway, as we're like on count 14, my buddy just comes in out of nowhere with a big tuba, right? Like, so he comes in when thought he's supposed to come in, but he's not.
May I hear that again, please?
Yeah. So he does this note, right? It echoes throughout the entire hall. And you just see our band director shoots a glare over my buddy, like knowing he wasn't supposed to come in yet. And you could tell, like the entire time, my buddy was like nervous. He's sweating the rest of the concert or whatever. Yeah. We ended up, funny enough, getting first place. And somehow, like, they missed the note. I guess they thought it was supposed to be like that. But it was funny. So I remember my band director being furious. And then he comes over and talks to us and he goes, if there was a note to miss, it was that one,
was
buddy.
The one.
He was like, you did it perfect and you did it well. It was like, you did it on pitch, on
Man.
key.
That's crazy.
But I'll never forget my buddy doing that. And I'm like, no, not yet. And he's like, ah. We had a very strict band director. He was a very nice teacher, though. Very good.
I was going to tell, Kevin, the last time I think I was in a play was 6th grade.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When they do forced fun.
Yes.
They'd
yeah.
Every couple.
Forced fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
Come on, you're going to enjoy it. It's
Come
fun.
on, we're
and
gonna
everybody
put on
has
a play.
to do it.
I was in a
I don't wanna
Sleepy
put on a
Hollow
play.
play.
Oh, no, everybody's in the play.
I
But
want to be the
don't wanna
headless
in the play.
horseman.
Yeah.
Ichabod Crane.
That's right. Speaking of the music, though, I have happy memories of walking. This is in college, but walking around the campus. I went to Houghton College in upstate New York, near Buffalo, outside of Buffalo, New York. And it was a big music school. There were a lot of music majors there. And I have happy memories, especially in the spring, of like walking around outside, and you hear from all the music buildings, you hear like people tuning up and everything.
Oh yeah.
I love that sound now. I don't know, like just the warm up sound to me just brings back happy memories.
Say, I'm not familiar with that song.
No.
You know, it's funny though. You go for like a high school band warming up to like when you first started in middle school, and you hear them warming up, and you're like, ooh. There's like a difference. You know what I mean?
Well, and my last band experience was when we all got the recorder in 6th grade.
Oh,
recorders.
Yeah, the old Mary had a little lamb. So
and they all bring the recorder home, right?
It's like a long time ago, like 5th grade. That's where they introduced band to us. They were like, hey, they got a whole bunch of mouthpieces, and you could like try to, either blow in them or like make noise out of them. And so like they went around and like, whichever you did do, they marked, okay, you might be good with this instrument. You might be good with this instrument.
Yeah.
Whatever. Could not get the flute to blow. I could not figure out how to do that. Clarinet. I couldn't figure out how to do the clarinet either. I tried and just could not make, like it instead of like it making noise, it would just be, what? I'm like, I can't do it.
It sounds like James Brown, if you ask me.
I don't know how to do it. But yeah, so I could do the trumpet, and then they wanted me initially too. They said, hey, I'd be a good trombone player, but I went with trumpet. And then
had there been a thing like School of Rock with Jack Black.
Oh, yeah.
That would have made it so cool. They would have had to turn people away for being in band,
Yeah.
If they check this out, bass guitar.
Right, exactly. Well, we're sharing our memories of us in school, high school and, college and whatnot. And I think we can safely say all three of us were pretty different. I know Erin, it sounds like Erin and I were fairly different than we are now. Would you say you're a lot different than you were in high school? Personality wise?
I was, like I said, I think I kind of built the foundation of my personality in high school. So I feel like my personality is kind of the same. I think the way that I view things is definitely a lot different. So yeah, I'd say I'm definitely probably a little different than I was in high school.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you want to weigh in, we'd love to hear your high school memories, childhood, high school, college, whatever you got. catcountry@mailzimmer.com. And talk to us. Let us know about you.
If there's ever a topic that you're wanting us to cover on the KATcast, let us know. Same email, catcountry@mailzimmer.com.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, would you give us a subscribe? I believe I'm pointing correctly. The subscribe is up. Watch me like down here or something.
It's somewhere in this vicinity.
That would be pretty on brand.
What is he doing? Is he got a weird dance? What is that?
Here.
Exactly.
It's somewhere here.
Give us a subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. We're trying to get these numbers up to make it look half decent, so our bosses go, oh yeah, you have some pretty impressive numbers there.
Yes. That would be helpful.
I don't know if they watch.
Please.
But they just want the numbers up.
That is another KATcast. Thanks for joining us.